Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Cam Peterson. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel for more coverage. Also like and comment.
Was the dominant force in Superbike. Now Beaubier has moved on, and the 2021 MotoAmerica field is primed for a new ascension to the throne. The question is, which prince becomes king?
I'm on the best bike that there is to be on. I've won races with this team before. You saw Cameron win 15 plus races and the championship.
Yeah, I'm really stoked with the crew we got. Really smart guys. They work their butts off, so we're ready to win some races.
MotoAmerica brings the best riders in the world to come here to compete, but I believe in my equipment and my crew.
I feel that with the improvement that we've made on the bar, we should really be running up front at every single race.
It's a lot of sacrifice to come in the US, and I only do that because I want to win, and I will not do that if that was to be second.
The season and the chase for MotoAmerica supremacy starts now on FS2.
'Cause we're breaking new ground.
It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, our first round of 2021. Coming at you from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta in Braselton, Georgia. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Atlanta. Hello everyone, welcome to the HONOS Superbike class. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, two-time national champion. And Jason, what a season we have in store for us this year. With Cameron Beaubier gone, I mean, there's goosebumps all around.
Yeah, there's no question about that. With the signing of Loris Baz coming over on a Ducati, and obviously Josh Herrin back with his attack team again that we've known him to be on in the past. There was a lot of talk during the offseason, but all the while, Jake Gagne's been working hard, and he's going to start from pole position today.
Yeah, and pole position was actually set yesterday, but keep in mind, when we were here last year, Jason, it was a different story. We were here in August, and take a look inside the numbers here. The fastest lap last year was done by Beaubier in the race at a 24 flat. It was 90 degrees, but Jake Gagne did a 23.746, the fastest lap we've seen a MotoAmerica Superbike do ever, and it was a nice, comfortable 75 degrees here, and a perfect day today for racing. We are excited about it. Let's get right down to the third member of our team, Hannah Lopa.
Yeah, guys, I'm out here on the grid. I just wanted to mention, direct your attention to the front row of this grid. Matthew Skoltz has also been going super fast all weekend long up until this point, almost P1 and P2 in nearly every single session. Last season, he had a season-ending injury at Indianapolis. He suffered a broken leg just above the ankle, among other things, including a knee injury. And I talked to him, and he said his main focus this offseason was to be really patient with himself, allow himself the time to heal before he really got back into training, and then trained as hard as he could once he was able to prepare him for this first weekend.
All right, looking forward to Matthew Skoltz and what he has in store for us, because this is the home race for that Westby Racing team here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Jason, a fantastic racetrack.
Real roller coaster, Greg. You go down into turn 1 and then up a big steep hill to turns 2, 3, 4. And then we got down into turn 5, famous turn 5 left-hander. You run over that curbing on the exit down to turn 6 and 7, the all-important turn 7. Get a good drive out of there. And it's going to put you in a good spot when you get down to turn 10, 11, up over a very blind, up underneath the bridge, down into a hard-braking turn 12, and then the finish line.
This track is awesome, and this season we're lucky enough to have Roger Hayden take us around to a couple of key corners on the Ducati Hot Lap.
Here's my track hotspots for this tricky road Atlanta, starting with turn 7. It's really important not to rush this corner. Really focus on getting your drive onto the back straightaway and getting that run all the way up into the 6th gear, into turn 10, which is the hardest braking corner we have at Road Atlanta. The #1 passing zone, hard on the brakes, going from 6th gear all the way down to 2nd, and then the last corner, turn 12. Downhill braking makes it really tricky, and if you haven't made a pass to win the race, that's your last chance. And those are my track hotspots.
All right, that's cool. Thanks so much, Roger Hayden. Well, the grid is filled, and we are about 5.5 minutes away from the race start, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
grid then. You can feel the excitement. We're just having a little look there at the 33. Works well. Let's just move across here and just have a little look. We're not going to talk to the riders because, of course, excitement building, some dignitaries from MotoAmerica. There is our first glimpse of Hector Barbera, the Spaniard, full focus down in towards turn 1 for the Scheibe BMW. All okay? Feeling good? Yep, very good. He's happy. As I said, we're not going to disturb the Superbike riders. It is the first race of the season. Let's move a little bit further back. He had an egg beater of a crash yesterday. Jason Uribe, his first Superbike race for the Fly ADR machine. He's just getting himself ready. He's battered and bruised, but he's got a real good view down into turn 1. Let's just walk a little bit further back. This is Jeff May, who started the Superstock race on the pole position. He had a couple of problems. He's out here again for his second race of the day. And all good?
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. I see you on my TV.
He's saying hello to his mum, bless him. Right, let's move across. Travis Wyman, another one of the Superstock guys that is doubling up in this class as well. We move back onto row number 6, another rider that had a big crash in that session, Max Flinders. All okay, Max? I'm not sure. We'll risk it. He's British. He might talk to me. How's the shoulder? You feeling okay?
It's a bit sore, but I went to the medics before and they put some icy hot on it and moved me around and cracked me a bunch of ways. So I got some strength back in it. It's a gorgeous day. Let's go rip.
Yeah, let's go racing, absolutely. Just a little bit further back, we see Andrew Lee. We can see the number 19 of Hunter Dunham. We can see the 31 there at the back of the grid. Not Garrett Gerloff. It is the Attack, or the former Attack Yamaha down there. So that is, of course, the 31 of Jeff Perk, the dentist. So I'm just having a little stroll further along. As I said, there's so much anticipation for this race. I know we've talked about it, we've hyped it up, haven't we, throughout the last couple of days, really, in terms of this free practice into qualifying. All spotlight is going to be on Loris Baz. What can the Frenchman do, the lanky Frenchman? I'm being told to clear the grid, so we are going to race off the grid now. Just on my left-hand side, the motorcycles are starting to be fired up. Front row of the grid then pretty much all ready to go here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Loris Baz on the Ducati, the Westby Yamaha of Matthew Scholz, and Jake Gagne on the front row of the grid. This one for me is too close to call, boys. I don't know if you're a betting man, but you might just want to say it's going to be a good one.
Thanks, Michael. Down there trackside, Robbie Flynn, Roger Hayden up here up top before we send it to the guys next door. You know, we're hearing a lot about Gagne, Scholz, and Baz, but we haven't talked much about Bobby Fong or Josh Herron or Cam Peterson. I mean, there are 3 guys that are on that second row that could put their nose in there for the race win.
Yeah, especially Josh Herron. He's one of those guys. He's a race guy. When the race starts is whenever he really comes out. Even there's been times he's been on the second row or not qualified very well, and when the lights go out, he's right there. So I expect him to be there. And one of the things to look for, none of these guys have ever raced with Loris Baz. The other guys, they've raced with each other before. They kind of know their strengths and weaknesses. They don't know any of that with Loris, and the same thing with them.
Bobby Fong was always aggressive early on last year. We'll see his aggressiveness as well. Josh is he's got so many fans here. He's always fast. Cam Peterson ready to prove himself as Bobby Fong's teammate. But again, Loris Baz has never started a race here at MotoAmerica. He's been watching the starting system. How is he going to get off on that start? Let's send it over to the guys next door and get ready for HONOS Superbikes.
Today's Superbike coverage is sponsored by HONOS, the apparel brand promoting talent within the adrenaline sports realm. And in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, getting ready for a 19-lap race in HONOS Superbike race number 1 of the season on a beautiful May day. Spectacular day for racing. And look at the starting grid, and it was Jake Gagne with an outright track record. He broke it yesterday at 1:23.746. Scholz just a tick behind him today, and Loris Baz rounding out row number 1.
Row number 2, Bobby Fong, Josh Herron, and Cam Peterson. Another guy that we haven't spoke a lot about, but Cam's just methodically doing his thing. Kyle Wyman ends up in row 3 with Hector Barbera, Dave Anthony, who had a mishap this morning, Uribe, Jeff May, Travis Wyman. Then you're going to have Jake Lewis, Michael Gilbert, Max Flinders there on row 5. Row 6, Corey Alexander, Gerardo, and Andrew Lee. Good to see Andrew back on the grids. Danella Lewis, Giannato, Hunter Dunham. Also good to see Hunter back. Jeremy Coffey, Wyatt Ferris, and Walt Sipp. And on the row number 9, Stephen Shakespeare.
Good to see a field this deep of racers in the HONOS Superbike class. While Jake Gagne, great job to put himself in this position. Our second place in the championship last year, really heading into this 2021 season, you'd have to say that Gagne should have been the favorite. And then all of a sudden we have a front row packed with talent. So here we go, 19 laps. Red light's gonna go on. When it goes off, we're gonna race HONOS Superbike. Revs are up. Away we go. A good launch from Matthew Skoltz in the middle. And it looks like the number 11 Skoltz on the Westby Racing Yamaha will take it in the home race. So a good job by Skoltz to slot himself up into first place. Up the hill they go. Will he be able to hold on to it? Jake Gagne, the 32, in second spot.
Yep, this is a little S section. Now you got to just get through here. That first lap, you can see him jumping curbs, dust, dirt everywhere. Matthew Skoltz has had a great report at the beginning of this, talking about how strong Matthew has been. He was strong at the COTA test. He was strong here the last couple of days. So Matthew's going to set sail. Kyle Wyman also had got a good jump from that row 3. You can see him there just coming through on the Panera Bread Ducati.
How about Cam Peterson, the 45, on his first go on the M4X Star Suzuki after winning the Stock 1000 Championship last year, gets the call to the HONOS Superbike class, and he's in third. So here comes Matthew Skoltz down the back straightaway. He's got a fresh and lean Attack Performance Yamaha and Jake Gagne in his draft. It's R1 versus R1 as they head into turn number 10.
Yep, Matthew Skoltz going to be strong on the brakes. Gets that Westby powered R1 down to the ground out of turn 7 and gets a good run down to turn 10. You see Herron going a little bit wide, battling with Bobby Fong. He closes off the inside to try to make Bobby go out around the outside of him. You can see Loris Baz there just kind of trailing these guys in fourth. He gets into the last corner a little bit deep. So it's going to be the first time Loris is going to see any of these guys racing, and it's going to be the first time they've seen him. So makes a little mistake down there in that last corner. How about Cam Peterson? This guy last year I felt was the best rider in the paddock as far as how he managed himself, what he had to do. Obviously did a nice job. Now he finds himself up in the Superbike class. Last year, Greg, in some of those races that we saw him in the Superbike Cup, he was running top 5, top 6 with the Superbikes.
So Matthew Skoltz out front, carrying the flag for the local Yamaha contingent. Of course, a lot of Yamaha has moved here to Georgia. And Matthew Skoltz telling me, Jason, that when he broke his collarbone not too long ago, the house he lives in here in Georgia, his grass started to grow high, so his neighbors decided to help him out because he couldn't push a lawnmower. And now they're huge fans of MotoAmerica, and they're all here in attendance. Jake Gagne uses the horsepower and the draft of the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha to go around Skoltz, and he'll take the spot for the moment. So the 32 had it, but here comes Skoltz deep on the brakes into turn 10. Advantage, Matthew Skoltz.
Well, you said for a moment, and it was just that, only a moment. Matthew Skoltz is here to fight. He wants to start getting some wins for his team. You always hear the respect from the team and from Matthew to his team. And no! Jake Gagne's got a problem. As they go through the last corner, Gagne's bike looks like it's expired on the front straightaway, Greg.
So Gagne, unfortunately for him, he's got to pull off the racetrack, and it's got to be race over for Jake Gagne. And you can see the frustration. Wow, and of course, all the riders behind him checking up for a moment as they got crop dusted.
This is a guy that is just looking for a little bit of luck, Greg. We've seen him travel the world. Was over in World Superbike not long ago. And look at the lead that's allowed Matthew Skoltz to have. All the guys behind Jake Gagne there all had to check up. It's going to give Matthew Skoltz a little bit of a lead. But Gagne just needs a little bit of luck. And you can see it really helped Loris Baz get now onto the back of Cam Peterson.
Loris Baz, the number 76 out of France, in his debut here in MotoAmerica. Jason, left part of your screen.
I'm trying to see if we see any smoke down the back straightaway, Greg. I don't see anything yet. This is them coming off the back straightaway, and you can see Matthew Skoltz was able to drive back down around. There's a little bit of smoke, Greg, as they went down that hill. And that's going to alert Cam and Loris Baz and all the other guys when you start seeing smoke, especially there.
Yeah, so that's it for Jake Gagne. And unfortunately for the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha rider, Man, he was having a fine run at it too. Unfortunate. On the right part of your screen, live shots. Here we go. Cam Peterson, M4X Star Suzuki being hounded by Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry of Loris Baz in his debut in a podium spot. Jason, we talked about Baz and the amount of laps he has done since he got here to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Yesterday, he put in that first session. He never came in. He ran a full tank of fuel. By the end of the session, he was only 0.6 out of the fastest lap of the session, which at that time was Gagne. So put in a bunch of time on the same tire, never came in and changed. And then yesterday afternoon, same thing. This morning I watched him, same thing. So he's got enough miles around here to know what's going on. And he's going to know also, Greg, what the tires are going to be like at the end of long runs. Now, Bobby Fong has made his way through on Josh Herron. We'll see if he's going to start bridging this gap to that battle for second place of Cam Peterson and Loris Baz now.
Josh Herron missing out on a little bit of time with some technical issues in the first session. He missed the first session of the weekend yesterday in the morning. So just a little behind in terms of getting that motorcycle set up. But look at Matthew Schultz. Schultz so desperate to win here in the HONOS Superbike class in the dry.
Baz goes out and goes around Cam Peterson as they go down into turn 10. It looked close at the top. Cam let off the throttle, and Baz was still kind of trying to stay in it and just went by. Now Cam's going to have a look back down the inside. Maybe. Nope, not quite. So now Matthew's going to try to watch his board. You can see he's up in front here, Greg, by about... Let's see what it is. It's 1.9 seconds as Cam Peterson looks to try to line up Baz down the front straightaway. Not close enough. It's going to give Matthew Schultz a big shot in the arm if he starts to see +2 on the board or +3 on the board or whatever it might be.
Fastest lap of the race going to Bobby Fong, a 1:24.7 on that M4X Star Suzuki. So Bobby Fong in 4th spot, your fastest rider on the track. Beautiful overhead shots to give you an idea of how these gaps are created as Fong now is closing onto the tailpipe, that M4 exhaust system of his teammate Cameron Peterson.
He's such a grinder, isn't he?
Yeah,
Bobby Fong,
100% grinder. Yeah, and there's a look back. That was Kyle Wyman on that Panera Bread Ducati. But how about these two? Flying the flag for M4X Star Suzuki. These teammates battling for a podium spot as Loris Baz starting to eke away from those two.
Now that's Matthew going by somebody. So if somebody had a problem early.
Yeah, that startled me for a second. I was like, Baz didn't catch him that closely.
I'm just trying to figure out who that might be there. But Bobby Fong has now made his way through on his teammate. And this is what I love about Bobby Fong. He is going to grind. He's going to put the work in. He realizes how long these races are. He's going to go put his head down and try to get after Baz, which in turn then will hopefully start drawing him closer to Schultz. Here we come around. Bobby Fong, fastest lap last time by. It stays at 1.9 seconds. Bobby Fong is the only rider, though, Greg, in the minute 24s right now.
The one thing about talking to Loris Baz and Scotty Jensen, his crew chief, about the strategy they've had this weekend on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry was laps, laps, laps. It's not just to learn the track, Jason. It was to learn the characteristics of these Dunlop tires. What are they like long term? And he's got a lot of experience already because he was doing these entire fuel distance laps stints on that Ducati. So Baz, you would think, okay, his first time to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. He had to learn the track just yesterday. Got on pace with a handful of laps. 22, and then had to come in only because from the 45-minute session in practice, there's not enough fuel able to be carried in these motorcycles in order to do that. So it's very interesting to watch the work ethic and the strategy of this team and Loris Baz as he enters this MotoAmerica HONOS Superbike Championship.
Well, we're lucky here in the booth. We can look at these splits. Bobby Fong right now 0.3 quicker than first and second place in that first split. Jims off another 10th in that second split. So right now, when you look at it, number 50 is on the move. But yes, Greg, like what you're saying, I always talk about when you're a world-class level rider as such as Loris Baz or any of the other riders in our HONOS Superbike grid, there's really no such thing as a home track advantage. These guys are going to watch videos. There's a lot of different things and avenues that they can go down, video games, all that stuff to really get to learn the way these circuits work. And these guys, after one session, Baz already knew his way around this place. Now, yeah, there's going to be little things that he can work out. There's going to be little things he's going to be able to do to adapt himself to get the bike working better around certain things. But he's already going to go to bed on that first night with a vision of what this track is like.
This is the section, turn 1 to turn number 5 for Loris Baz as he goes into turn 5. that's the section where he felt like he needed to improve the most. And those split times, Jason, that you're talking about, those Sector 1 times, have shown that for Loris Baz.
Now, the other thing you're going to notice here, when they go through this turn 6, this Ducati, as well as the Yamaha up front, they both come out of here in second gear. The Suzuki, when I was out there watching yesterday, this is a first gear turn for Bobby Fong. He's going to come out of there in first, get it up to second. Now, unless they've changed that, I wasn't out there this morning to see if any of that had been changed, but Bobby's actually going from first to sixth all the way down the back straightaway. The other bikes are second to sixth down that back straightaway. So a little bit of a difference in bikes and in gearing and that kind of thing, but that's one of the things I noticed yesterday that the Suzukis were having to do.
Interesting look at the tire sheet. So there are 3 tires that different tires that they're able to choose from here that Dunlop has in terms of compounds. You have a soft, an extra soft, and a super soft. And Bobby Fong is chosen for the super soft front tire versus Loris Baz on the extra soft front tire. And how you work that front is going to determine how fast you're going to be able to go deep into this race.
It's been 1.9 to the leader. Last lap by it was 1.7, and now it's come down, Greg, to 1.1. 25.9 that time through for Matthew Skoltz, 25.3 and 25 flat for Bobby Fong. So Bobby's on his way. Loris Baz is as well, but Bobby's now drawn to the back of that Ducati.
So Matthew Skoltz is losing the advantage as Loris Baz starting to find his rhythm, and Bobby Fong doing what the Fonger does. He latches on, and he will be able to do these laps, lap after lap. And the one thing in talking with his crew, Bobby Fong has the characteristic and the wherewithal to normally be able to do his fastest laps late in the race.
Yep, and that's such a huge key. And you know, having a motorcycle underneath you, this is where an experienced crew like that M4 X-Star team is. They're going to be able to help work him through all that through practice sessions and long runs on that bike. They're going to be able to let him know, hey, this is where it should be, this lap, that lap, and so on forth. And so when you go into those last 5 laps of a race and you still feel like you have a bike underneath you that you can be competitive on and still go to work on other riders, boy, it boosts your confidence before the green lights even go out.
So Matthew Skoltz, Westbeat Racing on the Yamaha YZF R1 continues to lead the way. The gap is now down to 0.8 of a second the last time they came across the stripe.
First lap that Baz has jipped into the 24, so this is where all those laps pay dividends, Greg. He's going to continue to grind these laps. I feel that Baz could probably run in around that 24.9 to 25.1 or 2 for the entire race. So when you get a jackrabbit that gets out in front of you the way that Matthew Skoltz did early here, Matthews also probably has gotten the hurry up on his board. It's gone from 1.9 down to 0.8 that last lap through, and it looks like Matthews responding a little bit here. He's gone 33.5, so he's pulled out a 10th in that first split. Baz has done his personal best split in that first split as well.
If you're new to HONOS Superbike racing here in MotoAmerica, what Jason's talking about when he says the board is there is no onboard communication with any of these motorcycle riders. There's a board, pit board, they'll hang out at start-finish line along that straightaway to give them information. So unless they look behind them, which is always not recommended, the only time they get information about what's going on during the race for these riders is when they get to the start-finish straight. All right, so less than, well, they're going to be working on 10 laps to go when Matthew Skoltz comes across the line. We'll get the split. As you can see it, it's closed down to probably about 0.5 second. So here they come. It's 0.6 of a second now between Skoltz and Baz, and Bobby Fong still hanging in there about 0.7 of a second behind Fong.
24.8 that time for Baz. So 2 laps in a row in the 24s with a personal best. Yeah. So he's just trimming that down. Bobby Fong looks like he's just lost a little bit of contact, obviously with Baz going a little bit quicker. Bobby still, though, 25 flat, same as the leader. So these 3 guys are all kind of operating in that same range at the moment.
Off in 4th place after a great start is Cameron Peterson. And then you have number 2, Josh Herron, the fan favorite. The rider who some years ago here, Jason, as you remember, didn't have a motorcycle to ride and rode a stalker around here.
Rode his personal stock bike, and it rained. So he actually led that race. Josh Herron missed yesterday's first session, had a problem in that on his outlap. So he literally missed the whole session. Had another small problem yesterday in the second session. So really, Josh Herron has not got the amount of laps that he would normally get here. So he's going to chip away. He sees Cam Peterson just up in front of him. That's going to be kind of the carrot dangling for him as we get back to this lead 3 guys.
Skoltz for this section the 10A, 10B, and you can hear the growl of that Ducati as they come up over the top of the hill. Baz is there now.
He is there, Greg, and it's going to give him a lot of confidence. Once he saw that gap didn't get out past +2 for Schultz, so he's about 2 seconds back at one point. When you see that start to kind of neutralize and then the guy isn't really getting away in front of you and you still feel like you have something left and you know how good your bike is towards the end of a long stint, you know, probably gave Baz a little boost of confidence there that, all right, he's not really getting away anymore. I can kind of bridge this gap. Bobby Fong, too, he worked really hard to get to where he is. Makes a little tiny mistake there getting out over that curbing to the left side there, did Bobby that time, but does a nice job recovering it as they get into turn 5 here.
Jason, as Baz closes this gap to Schultz up front, I was talking to him earlier and he said he hasn't ridden around a lot of these riders ever before, and this is a brand new track for him, so the learning curve is steep. And his strategy was to really just kind of watch and learn to see where he could make the most of an opportunity. He knows that this track already, just from the few laps that he does have here, there's not a lot of good passing opportunities. So he really wants to rely on the power of that Ducati.
Yeah, no question, Hannah. And when you come to a series that you don't know anybody, he's going to have done his homework. He's going to know who Matthew Schultz is and obviously Bobby Fong and these guys. This guy's world class. We've seen him in MotoGP. We've seen him in World Superbike. Always just seems like since he lost that factory Kawasaki ride, he never really got on anything else after that was really capable of letting him get to the front. I know in MotoGP he was probably on C-grade stuff, Greg, and then in World Superbike, even last year he didn't join the series with Tenkate till almost halfway through on that Yamaha then, so helped develop that, and then that team dissipated. So they're doing Super Sport this year. There was nowhere for him to go. There's a great opportunity for him now to come over to America, join up with a new team, a relatively new team. We saw Warhorse around last year, but he wants to get in that Ducati family with the hopes of maybe trying to get back over into World Superbike.
Well, he's definitely doing a great job. And, when I was talking to Scotty Jensen about the strategy before this race, Loris hadn't even been around any other rider to even get a draft. And so it was a question mark on gearing for them. As Baz now starts to drop back a little bit, Jay, it looked like it started in turn number 1. Honestly, if you go back, he kind of ran a little bit wide and didn't get the drive up the hill. So now a little bit of a gap as Matthew Schultz is starting to up his pace, but Bobby Fong in sector number 1 just set his fastest personal split.
Easy to say.
In that sector, absolutely.
Yeah, no question. And Bobby just wants a sniff of that draft down that back straightaway if he can just get off of that turn 7 with these guys. And the biggest problem with having a bike that might be geared a little bit shorter is those guys are going to be able to roll through that corner. And Bobby's second gear might not be capable of rolling through there the way he wants it to, so he's got to go back one more gear, which also means he's got to go up one more gear, and he's got to do that shift relatively quickly. So he loses a little bit of time on the exit there, and you can see they come across now 25 flat for both Matthew Schultz and Fong, 25-1 for Baz. So these guys right now all running around the same lap time, looking just a little further back. I see on my screen that Heron has got by Cam Peterson as well.
So Schultz with that 25 flat. You can see Baz has closed the gap back up again, but it's been like this with 7 to go in this HONOS Superbike race number 1. It is Yamaha to Ducati to Suzuki, and then back to this battle between number 2 Josh Heron on that freshly attack performance Yamaha and the M4X Star Suzuki of Cam Peterson, Hannah.
Yeah, and in talking to both Josh and Cameron earlier, Josh, just a few short years ago, was on that Yoshimura Suzuki bike, which is essentially very similar to what Cameron Peterson is on now. And he thinks that the Yamaha suits this track better as far as his own experience goes. So I wonder if he has a better idea of what Cameron has underneath him that helped him to make that pass just now.
Yeah, that is a good question as they continue to duke it out for that 4th spot. We're back up front, and now it's a bike length or 2 between Matthew Schultz, the South African, and the Frenchman Loris Baz, as this is really starting to heat up. As he comes across the line, it's got to be 6 to go, JP.
And Matthew can hear that Ducati right behind him right now. He's going to be looking at his pit board as he goes by right now on that front straightaway, and you can see 25-1 to 24-9. That time Bobby loses a little bit, 25-3 for Fong. Back there in 3rd, and you can see he's just dropping off the back of these guys. And I think Loris, he's probably going to sit there, but Matthew will not back down. I expect if Baz goes past, that Matthew will strike back right away.
Down through the S's, looking at the difference between the way that those bikes transition. Oftentimes we call it you know, the bike being nimble. A Ducati versus a Yamaha. As Scholz with his head down, trying to get as aero as possible. Both these riders on the tall side, physically, for motorcycle racers. Baz coming in at somewhere in the neighborhood of 6'4". Matthew Scholz coming in at about 6'2", 6'3" himself. Trying to get a deep tuck. And the difference in sounds coming out of that inline 4-cylinder Yamaha R1 and Baz in that V4 fire-breathing Ducati. Look at Baz pull up alongside him. Is he going to make the move now? Baz goes up the inside in 10A. He holds it nice and tidy. He'll hold on to the lead. Now Scholz is going to get an idea of what Loris Baz has to offer. Is Scholz going to try to fight back immediately? No.
He wanted to, though. You could tell he was trying to square it back up. Now, let's see if Matthew can stay with that Ducati for a good lap down through the S's. He's going to have a look over his shoulder. He's going to see he's got no pressure from the back right now as Baz runs his fastest lap of the race, a 24.785 for that Ducati. Matthew Scholz looks really good as they go up the hill. He's going to be happy when he looks back there and sees that there's not a lot of pressure behind him at the moment.
Well, Scholz had to kind of let off a little bit, Jay. It's a lot different, I think, when you're running out front for almost the entire race and you go through that section and you can't quite see the lines you want to hit. It's very snug up at the top of turn 2. So Loris Baz, Warhorse, HSBK Racing, Ducati, New York, showing up and leading the way on that Panigale V4R. And behind him, Matthew Scholz, who had his way with this race. But Baz has just been chipping away at it. All the while, Bobby Fong and the M4X Star Suzuki hanging back there. So Scholz with a good drive. Jason, left part of your screen. This is the pass for the lead.
You can see as soon as Matthew opens up turn 10, Baz is there to take advantage of that and slide up underneath him. Now on the bottom right, you can see Matthew is going to do the exact same thing. Baz, if he moves over to the right, Matthew Scholz is going to go back up underneath him, Greg, so he's repaying the favor. And we've got back markers. Oh, Baz goes down.
So Loris Baz under pressure. Wow. Tried to hold on to that lead and just asked too much from that Dunlop front tire. And down goes Baz. He's going to remount quick. A rider who's thinking championship. He's going to try to get that Ducati rolling.
Oh, he's going to bury the thing. Now they got to just push the thing out of there, Greg. They're going uphill, obviously, with that gravel. The front tire's just going to dig in as well. He's going to have to go dig that thing out.
Oh, in the kitty litter and just keeps burying it. All the while, the front of this race is gone from Loris Baz.
They need to lift the front of that bike up and get it on top and then push the thing out is what they've got to try to do there, Greg. Unfortunately, that's from experience. So, yeah, it's just going to keep burying. So that's too bad for Loris. Honestly, you can see they get down there. There's a couple back markers. Look like Baz wanted to just let go of the front lever again, and he let go of it, but the bike wasn't quite slowed down for the lean angle he wanted to carry, and the front just tucks up underneath him.
So that risk for Loris Baz doesn't pay off. He crashes himself out of the lead. He had about half a bike length lead before it let go. So disappointment for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York team, but it is the first race of the season, and I know Baz is going to be there.
Nah, and I feel bad for him because it looked like they could maybe get that bike out of the gravel for him.
Looks like it was rideable.
Yeah, look at him saying, like, that's all right. We hold Nova out for tomorrow. I feel bad for Loris. Here's our leaders coming back through. Matthew Scholz is going to be leading the way. He's going to see that it was Baz there falling down. I'm sure he knew that already.
And that pass on the back straightaway, the pressure that Scholz was able to put on Baz is what created that. Baz just didn't want to give him any quarter, didn't want to let him have that lead through 10A, and that forced the mistake. It was just wide too, Jason.
Yeah, just a little bit wide.
Just a little bit wide where it could be a little dirty out there. Some marbles, definitely. But Matthew Scholz, Westby Racing, now leading the way. Not a comfortable lead by any stretch of the imagination with 1.2 over Bobby Fong. And these two have been in this situation before for years and years. But what's on the line for Matthew Scholz?
Well, when you got Bobby Fong behind you, it is never an easy ride because he, like I said, he's a grinder, but so is that guy in front on that number 11. Matthew Scholz has ridden really superb this race so far, Greg. He's just got to keep it on the island and just keep putting these laps in. Now, what it's done is given this guy, number 2, Josh Herron, this is going to give him a big boost, knowing that he's going to try to get himself on the podium. Both Gagne are out. Obviously, Gagne and Baz are both out. That's a huge boost in points, and I know we're only in the first race of the year. I don't really like talking about points, but I think it's going to be so close as the year goes that all these points are going to be important.
And we've seen championships come down here in MotoAmerica to a single point. So Josh Herron chipping away at it on that fresh and lean attack performance Yamaha, bringing fresh and lean into the HONOS Superbike class as a title sponsor for one of the top teams in the series. And the possibility of Herrin standing on the podium looms as now Schultz comes onto the front straightaway, working through traffic. 2 laps to go for the Georgia resident.
And he's going to get back markers in a horrible spot. If there's an opportunity for Bobby Fong, it's going to be right now. See, when you come here, Greg, this is all as one-lined as you like. And it looks like he's got Max Flinders and Joe Giannato possibly right smack in front of him. So let's see if he can get by Flinders going down the hill. He does.
It's a good move and a good spot to do it on the transition. Not very risky.
You'll probably get by Giannato as they come out of here, out of turn 5, headed down to turn 6. And then those 2 guys will then become a little bit, not so much of a problem. I'm sorry these guys are looking at blue flags. Look at Joe. Looked like he kind of saw it there.
Right part of your screen, Schultz's race pace. And you can see where he did the fastest lap for him early on in this one. But very consistent pace over the course of this one, even under enormous pressure from Loris Baz.
We said when we saw Matthew riding at the COTA test, he was putting in the time, he was putting in a lot of miles. He was actually putting in a lot of miles behind Baz, and I was watching him just kind of work there. And you and I talked at dinner that night, and I said, you know, we got to look out for this guy this year because everybody's kind of talking about a couple other guys, but Matthew Schultz is a guy that I have felt for years is better than some of the results that he's been getting. And with a little over 1 lap to go, he might get this first win of the year out of the way early, Greg.
For Matthew Schultz, as he comes onto the front straightaway, he'll take the the white flag out as he launches himself towards the checkered flag. Jason, there were only 3 riders of active winners in MotoAmerica in the past. Josh Herrin with 8 total, Matthew Schultz with 2, and Bobby Fong with 3. Schultz, his last win was 2008 at Barber Motorsports Park, 2018 at Barber Motorsports Park in the rain. This would be his first MotoAmerica Superbike win in the dry. A lot on the line for Matthew Schultz to prove that he is a race winner. And for Bobby Fong, he's just hung around this entire race.
Just grinding away like he does. They'll make improvements tomorrow, but Matthew Schultz, when he came by the board that lap, he probably had a board that said +1 to +1.5. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when you're running on the knife edge like these guys, he's going to be able to back off just a tiny little bit if he needs to. That said, Greg, he's still pulling away on this lap from Bobby Fong. So what a great place for Matthew to do this. Obviously home state. You know Chuck and all the team are going to be on the wall, bringing him home as he rolls down into turn 10 for the final lap.
A huge crowd here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and even bigger underneath the Westby canopy as they have so many people here in attendance. Can Matthew Schultz, with 1 corner to go, pull this one off? Through the final corner, twist the grip onto the front straightaway, put your hands together. It's Matthew Schultz with a big win here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, our first race winner of the season. And his crew chief, Ed, so happy with that big win and a slight change they made. And how about Josh Herrin, the number 2, brings it home for a podium.
Josh Herrin ends up 9.8 back behind Bobby Fong, so he kept closing that gap down. Cam Peterson, tremendous job, finishing 4th in his debut in Superbike on that M4. Kyle Wyman's going to roll across in 5th. We're waiting for Hector Barbera to come across. We didn't get to talk about him much, but we will try to hopefully get to talk about him a little bit more tomorrow. New to the series, Hector Barbera on that BMW.
Hector Barbera getting used to that BMW, the Dunlop tires here that are manufactured in the United States, this racetrack, and all kinds of stuff. A tip of the cap to Matthew Schultz. Jason, it wasn't just his outright speed that got him the race win today. He's got to look and be happy with his racecraft.
I was going to say, that's great, yeah.
Right? When he was
exactly
challenged,
right.
He answered.
Well, I know how much fight this guy's got in him, and I know how bad he wants it. Anytime you watch Matthew and he tips off, you feel it for him, because I think that he realizes the team that he's got around him are such family, and he realizes how hard those guys work. There's Cam Peterson congratulating his countrymen there, but you can see how much he feels it when he feels like he lets the team down. And so really nice work today for this whole crew.
Yeah, congratulations across the board from those 2. South Africa standing on top of the box, and Cam Peterson with a solid 4th. We'll step away. There's more coming at you from the HONOS Superbike class, including a conversation with this guy, Matthew Schultz.
How about that? 2 South Africans in the top 5, and you can see Cam pulled up next to Matty. He was congratulating him, and he goes, "I got 4th."
And that's a solid ride for Cam Peterson. His first Superbike race on a new bike, new team, and good way to get the the season going. And now he can sit down with his crew. He's got a lot of laps on the bike now and start really making some changes and start taking those steps.
2 riders on new teams. Josh Herron in 3rd place. I mean, how about it for him, too? He just kept plucking away. A couple guys dropped down. He made a few passes. And he was aggressive off the start. You can't fault him for that.
And that was a smart race by Josh. It's a long season. He's been off a little bit this weekend to the other guys. He missed the whole first session yesterday, so he comes in the race, knows what he has, just trucks along, ends up on the podium, doesn't make a mistake, and it'll be a good start for the season. And since they missed almost most of yesterday with some issues, him and his crew will be able to sit down tonight and make some changes, and I expect him to be a lot stronger tomorrow.
A lot of Matt Skolt fans here. I know he's South African, but he's from Georgia now, and this is his home track, his home people, and I can't –
well, everybody really likes that team. That's the thing about it. The Westby team is a great team, and they're not the factory team, and they come up against the factory teams for I don't know how many years now, and puts in a big effort.
And he's been so close since 2018. His first win, I believe, was 2017, but he's never won a dry race in MotoAmerica, the HONOS Superbike class. He can't say that any longer. He won today, and he beat the best.
Yep.
Last year, he was one of my favorites. I'm going to give Cam a run for his money, and had a bad crash on the second day of racing after Podium on day number 1. This year, he starts off as a points leader. We can't ever say, we haven't said before that Matthew Skolt's the points leader in MotoAmerica.
But he's always been solid here the last couple of years at Atlanta, been on the podium, and been nice to see what Gagne could have did, but it's so hard to lead these Superbike races from start to finish like Matthew did.
Yeah.
And then having the guy catch you and still not make a lot of mistakes and being able to respond is it shows he's really taken a step this season.
And we'll get a little look back at what happened with Matthew Skolt. He was out in front. That was till Baz showed up. Loris Baz actually put a pass on him, and here goes Matthew on the inside.
It just looks like he was a little bit offline. Skoltz had the inside line, and Baz was a little bit wide, and that's all it took through there.
As soon as he recognized that he was underneath, should he have probably backed off a little bit? Because there is no runoff there at that angle.
Yeah, maybe just it's just you don't know. You're put in that spot, and it happens so fast, and sometimes that happens where you want to lean on the guy, and sometimes it's better to, give up that spot. But if he would the thing is, it's like the Monday morning quarterback. We say now he should have gave up the spot, but if he would have kept made the pass and went on to the win, we would have been saying how great it was.
Well, the familiarity with that turn and knowing what you can and can't do, I mean, that is, to me, one of the scariest places after going 185 miles an hour down that straightaway, knowing that a guy's inside of you on a 90-degree turn. He literally had nowhere to go, got in that gravel, could not get out of that gravel. But, hey, how about it? The entire team, Matthews admittedly thrown it away a time or two, and the teams always get him back. This time he had their back. They got him back from an early crash today, and he gives them their first win of the year in race number 1.
Today's Superbike race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back. Tens of thousands of people here, and we were able to see a familiar face, Justin Allgaier, NASCAR Xfinity driver, race winner here in attendance, checking out Matthew Skoltz's big win. Let's take a look at our results, Jason Pridmore, because definitely the gap doesn't tell the story of this competitive race. Matthew Skoltz wins by 3 seconds over Bobby Fong, and Josh Herron on the box with Cam Peterson in his M4XR Suzuki debut in 4th, with Kyle Wyman doing a good job in 5th spot.
Yep, then we got Barbara, Wyman, Danilo, Lewis there. And Jeff May ended up 9th. Michael Gilbert, Lewis, Giannato, Max Flinders, Jeffrey Perk, and Hunter Dunham round out our points-paying finishes.
So great results, and it means it's time to get down to Hannah, who gets to talk to our podium finishers. Take it away, Hannah.
Guys, this victory today for Matthew Skoltz marks a career 3rd victory, but his first ever victory on a full-blown Superbike in the dry. Matt, you had a great battle with Gagne, and Loris Baz kept you honest throughout that race. How'd you get it done?
Man, it was pretty good. Firstly, while I'm up here, I just want to say thank you to the Westby boys and to Treg. The off-season was pretty long for me with the injuries that I had, and coming back to it. They gave me a little bit more horsepower this year, which definitely helped. And I kind of knew that Gagne and Baz would be there throughout the whole race, to be honest. But I think something might have happened to Jake's bike, which kind of sucks. And then I kind of opened up a 1-point-something gap over Baz, and I could see that he was catching me. Then when he passed me, I was just kind of hoping just to instantly pass him back and kind of just try to hold him off for the final couple of laps. But he went down. I'm not sure if we actually touched. But yeah, we were pretty tight coming into corner 10. But yeah, I mean, I know for the second race, though, those guys will be there, and we definitely need to find something driving out of the corner. I was kind of slipping and sliding lots there. Just thank you to Bell and to Spitty. They're my personal sponsors for always keeping me safe. And yeah, just one more time to all the fans for coming out. Thank you, guys. This wouldn't be possible if you guys weren't here. I know that my family are watching back home, and I miss and I really love you guys lots.
Congratulations, Matthew Skoltz, today's race winner.
Yeah, and it's great because he's already trying to think right now, Greg. He realizes that there was some attrition from some of the top guys, and he's already trying to get it in his mind of where he can get his bike better, what he can do. We talked about how he wanted to fire back the second that Baz went by him, and he was able to do that. And unfortunately, Loris ended up tipping off.
Yeah, but for Matthew Skoltz, like Hannah said, that third important win. Let's get right back down to victory lane with Hannah, who's with Bobby Fong.
Second place today goes to M4 XR Suzuki and the lone Suzuki on the podium. Bobby, when we spoke earlier today, you were looking to still get comfortable on that motorcycle. Would you say you were able to achieve that? And if so, did it help you get to this podium here?
Yeah, the last 2 days just been some testing for us. We didn't do too much testing this off season, and we're getting the bike dialed in still, and hell, it was a good race out there, and I don't know what I was doing on the line. I guess I was sleeping. I wasn't ready for it, but we had some good race pace at the end, and we just settled for second, but looking for more tomorrow, but I can't get up to my M4 S-Car Suzuki team. They've been busting their butts all weekend, and Chris and John, obviously, for always making this possible.
Great start to the season for today's second place finisher, Bobby Fong.
All right, great job for Bobby, and that's a ton of data he'll be able to take to his team, and they'll be crunching numbers tonight to make any changes that he needs. So Bobby Fong starts off the season with a good 20 points haul for him, and you show exactly where the M4 X-Star Suzuki is in terms of competitiveness. It's fantastic. Let's get down to Hannah, who's got, I'm sure, a very happy Josh Herrin.
It's been an up and down weekend so far for Josh Herrin, but a third place victory to start the season. When we spoke earlier, you were saying you wish you had gotten so much more seat time than you have up until this point. With that in mind, are you happy with this result?
I'm happy, that we got some points for the championship. We got lucky there with Gagne's motor and Baz going down for sure. So I'm happy to be on the podium considering where we were at. We missed basically all day yesterday, and so it's been a struggle. But happy to be here. Happy to be back on this bike. It's fun riding this thing. I've missed it the last 2 years, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you to the entire Fresh Lean Attack Yamaha team. Yeah, we got a good solid race in today. Got a lot of laps. Richard will go back, I'm sure, and look at a lot of the data and I'll think about the race. I'm sure we'll make some improvements tomorrow. But no doubt we're behind a little bit, and I'm just looking to try and improve tomorrow and get some more solid points.
Congrats, Josh. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a big win, especially for all of Josh Herrin's fans.
No, listen, he didn't get a lot of laps yesterday, and it's the first race of the year, and he's going to get a podium through a little bit of attrition. But you know what? I think that's going to happen to a lot of people this year, and if you can just keep that bike going around in circles right now, that's what you want to do. And obviously the racing up front is going to be close. This guy will be up there as the year goes on.
A good-looking podium in race number one. More from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta when we return. You don't want to miss a moment of it.
And as the podium continues down there trackside, welcome back, MotoAmerica Live Plus. Cam Peterson just outside the podium, Kyle Wyman and Hector Barbera. I didn't mention him too much, but yeah, a new entrant into the MotoAmerica scene. And he had 3 BMWs, 6th, 7th, and 8th with Barbera, Wyman, and Lewis. But yeah, the podium looks pretty darn cool with a video board in the back. I think, Michael's trying to make himself look a little bit better. He's down there getting to introduce all of those riders. Who are you more impressed with, Skoltzy, Fong, or Herrin on that podium? Because all had their own demons they had to deal with today.
I would say, the winner, Matthew Skoltz, to be able to to just hold off and defend all the guys that, it's like I've said before, it's so hard to lead these races, and he really didn't make any mistakes.
No.
There was only like mid-race, there was like 2 laps where he did
he was losing time somewhere, and we're like,
couple
where?
High 25s, and that's when Baz caught him, and then once Baz was there, Matt stepped back up. But yeah, no, he's the ride of the day because it's difficult. He didn't make any mistakes when the guys were catching him, and then like I said with Bobby Fong, he'll be so much stronger tomorrow. He's been back a little bit this weekend, and he's a racer. When the race started, if he would have got to start and not have made up so much ground,
been up there the whole time,
he might have been up there the whole time. But that's part of racing. You got to get off the line, especially we talk about how deep this field is this year. If you get a bad start, you're not going to rush to the front this year. There's too many good guys.
And one of the guys that kept him from getting that good start was Josh Herron, because Bobby was putting the pressure on, but Herron did not want to give up his position. He was trying to dive underneath him every time he could get. You and I were looking at each other going, man, he's fighting hard.
And I can tell you, in the Superbike class, nobody's going to give you the position.
Nope.
They don't care if you had dinner the night before or
paid for dinner the night before
or whatever. Nobody's ever going to give you the position, and that's just the way it is, and everybody knows that. But you can see him just trying to get by, and just a smart ride by everybody on the podium.
He and his wife just recently announced they're going to be expecting a baby this year as well. But congratulations going all out to Matty Scholes. One thing I did notice, and we were talking about it, Loris Baz was missing something in that first sector, in that 2, 3, 4 sector. When he started closing in, he was trying to follow the lines of Matt Scholes. I think he learned something for tomorrow, right? He's going to pick up right off the bat.
I think so. He definitely made a lot of time through there. He was getting faster that first sector. He was getting green first sectors through the whole race, making his personal best. And he still struggled a little bit through there. You could see it, but to be able to get up to Matt, follow him for a couple laps, see what he was doing, because Matt's really strong through there. And he would lose all that time in the first sector, and then you have to ride a little harder, in Sector 2, Sector 3, and take more risks to try to close the gap.
We see guys in the Superbike Cup as well with some strong finishes out there. Looks like maybe, Travis Wyman in 7th place, the highest finisher in the Superbike Cup. Yeah, it's very solid.
Danilo Lewis, 8th.
Yeah, May and Gilbert rounding out the top 10. Jake Lewis, again, still working on his conditioning. And no better place to do it at the track. There's Jake Gagne. You got to feel sick for him, and he was so disappointed after being so fast off the truck at Coda, off the truck here. I mean, the bike was so good, and it gave up the ghost today.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. That's a good thing about having 2 races. Tomorrow you get another shot.
We'll see Jake Gagne line back up with the best of the best as MotoAmerica kicks on for race number 2. Let's send it back over to the guys.
Welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Thousands upon thousands of fans have shown up this weekend for some perfect weather, and they were treated to a local fan favorite, Matthew Scholes. Jason, let's take a look at race 1 highlights.
Well, right off the bat, it looked like it was going to be Jake Gagne off the line, but Matthew Scholes was able to go up underneath him, and from this point, it looked like he was going to pull away until Gagne goes by him down the back straight. And just if you look closer here, you see a little bit of smoke starting as they go down the hill into turn 10, and that would get a lot bigger right now, Greg, as he went through turn 12. You can see riders behind putting their arms up. Poor Jake Gagne. He'll be back. He's going to win this year, Greg. I just know it. I feel awful for him right now. Matthew Scholes pulled out to a lead. Loris Baz was on the move. He ends up catching up to Cam Peterson, getting past him. Catching up to Matthew Scholes eventually. Gets by for a lap. The next lap, though, Matthew Scholes goes up underneath him. And Loris just outbrakes himself ever so slightly in off the end of that back straightaway. That's going to allow Matthew Scholes to go on and take his first victory of 2021. And as you heard, first one in the dry, Greg, on a full-blown Superbike.
Yeah, great job by him, the Westby team. The local team gets it done in this first one. Here's the championship point standings with the first one in the book. It gives you a good idea of how our point system works here in MotoAmerica. 25 for the win, 20 for second, 16 for third, and on down the list, we pay back to 15th place, Jason.
And you know, there's people all over the world watching MotoAmerica now. I mean, after last year, we had a lot of new subscribers getting on board and watching MotoAmerica Live Plus. And so people are going to, you know, obviously Garrett Gerloff going over to World Superbike. These are the new names now. Matthew Scholes, Bobby Fong, Josh Herron, all these guys are going to be putting the fight to everybody this year.
Yep. All right, we're going to step away. There's more coming at you. When we come back, you know, I had a little chance to hang out with some of these racers and have some fun on Thursday. We'll tell you more about that when we come back.